and welcome to the Golden Hour in the Manifest to Live Life Golden podcast and YouTube show. I'm Golden Duffy, your host, and today we're taking on negative emotions. So I've done some episodes in the past about negative emotions, but I've gotten some new downloads on this, so I want to share kind of what's happening as far as like circumstances and experiences in life. What's happening is in the midst of that, like when I've got some negative emotion going on, whether it's anger or frustration or impatience, I'm literally being able to see the energy transform, alchemize by what I do next, by what I do with those negative emotions. So I want to help you to do that. I want to help you to alchemize them because negative emotions are important. There's a reason why we have this grand scheme of emotions. There's, the emotional guidance scale that goes all the way from appreciation down to depression. I'm trying to think what the last one is. Somewhere around like depression or guilt. It might actually be depression. So when we take the scope of all the emotions that are in between there, we can formulate the emotions that we actually want to feel and understand our negative emotions and what they're telling us. Your negative emotions are one of your greatest guides in life to what you're tolerating, what you need to change. So they really can be a barometer on what you want your life to do next. Now, many people get stuck in negative emotions, right? We get stuck in grief when someone passes us or leaves us, or, a breakup or a divorce. We get stuck in guilt. A lot of times we feel guilty. That's like the people pleaser syndrome, when we're trying to please people and we feel guilty all the time for not doing for everyone. There's many negative emotions that we can get stuck in, but the trick is to learn how to incrementally move up that scale. Now, you can't go from depression to gratitude. Maybe you can, but it's a really far leap. If you were super duper depressed and then you won $100 million in the lottery, maybe you could do it, but it would have to be a big extreme. Or if you were super depressed and then you met the love of your life, like those are things that can transform that depression like immediately. So in understanding that component of your inner guidance, right? That it's a component of your inner guidance, and it's not something to resist or push against or feel like you shouldn't have. When you do that, when you should on yourself, when you beat yourself up, when you say, I should know better and I shouldn't feel this way, you are in resistance, and then that emotion cannot transform because you're fighting against it. It's going to become this big ball of dense energy, and it's going to be a lot harder to navigate it and to process through it and alchemize it. So how do you, what is the components of negative emotion? So basically your set point is of well-being. That's all of our set points are. And maybe people that have come into the world and they didn't have a set point of well-being. Well, the reason for that is because they have chosen a path that's going to help them to come back to that well-being. They wanted to be super far from it so that they could come back to it in a more expansive and extreme way. That's what massive negative emotion always is. It's an invitation to the contrast that leads you to more joy. And the more you can know that, the more you can live that, the more you can realize that, the better your life is going to be. Because once you embrace your negative emotion, right? Like let's say, and this often happens as well, that you're going through a low period and you don't really know why. So you're kind of waking up every day, you're feeling very mundane, you don't feel passionate, you feel, just like life is like whatever, and you're just kind of at this mass state, right? And that mass state could continue down that emotional scale where eventually you just kind of feel depressed and you don't feel like anything in life is really creating some joy for you or connecting you to your joy or that well-being. Depression, and I've said this before and I love it, and I heard it from someone and I ran with it because I think it's so freaking smart. Depression, if you could think of depression as compression, which basically is like you're not getting your satisfaction from the world outside of you. You're compressing and going within to find those answers within, to find that guidance, to find that well-being within, because the world outside of you is not satisfying. There's nothing satisfying you. Now, many studies and research and doctors have gone down the medical route with it to say that, they're clinically depressed people out there. You're being labeled as depressed. You're being told you're depressed. You're being told that you need medication to feel better. And if you're on medication and it's helping you, that's great. But I would say there are other avenues. And the one thing that I've heard mostly from my children who have had experiences with other kids who were on antidepressants is that, and the craziest thing I find about this is like that the side effect is suicide. Like, to me, that is just bonkers. But with the antidepressants, they often lose part of their personality and they just don't feel anything at all. And I don't think that that is being a powerful creator, to feel nothing at all, to not feel any of the excitement and joy of life. You just kind of feel like whatever. Maybe you don't feel super, super bad, but you don't feel super, super good. So it's not going to really lead you to that. But there's other avenues. There's natural remedies. My family is really into mushroom medicine, and that is not a drug. I just want you to know it's plant medicine, and it can really have a strong component. You can look up Change Your Brain on Netflix and Fantastic Fungi. It gives you a lot of information about mushrooms and the components of them that make it really a solution to people who have low neural pathways. They have low vibrational pathways that they just create a habit from. And then this plant medicine actually raises your neural pathway to get you out of that so that you can have more of a set point of gratitude and joy. So when you're feeling like, let's say you have a circumstance, actually I have a circumstance I can share a little bit about, and just to get a little personal, because y'all know I love to just be an open book with the world. So my husband and I are working on his contracting business together, and we recently hired someone, and we hired a company to help us hire this person. And in video, in the Zoom calls, now they lived in Texas. In those videos, in those Zoom calls, we felt very strong. Like, we felt like this was a great candidate, and we really felt like that he had the right energy and the right words and everything to connect with us. And then he came here and things were a little messy. Like, his finances were extremely messy. He needed help getting a place. And there were all these factors. And also it seemed that he's less than qualified for the job. Like, he seemed to have really puffed up his qualifications. And now we're seeing that he is actually not creating a huge amount of value. And so I kind of got into it with my husband and really tried to let him know that I did not think he was the right person for us. And it caused a lot of flack between us. Just for like a day, there was some flack between us. And so I went in, hold on one sec. I'm still getting over this cough. So I went in and I decided to do some work. So this is kind of where I've been going with negative emotions. So I processed, talked to a few people because I felt like I needed to kind of vent and process through my venting. So I wasn't complaining necessarily, but I was reaching towards people that I felt like would support me in what I was feeling and what I needed to process. So there's a very big difference, because if you're going to people and you're complaining and you're not really going to change things, you're not going to change the way you feel or use it to process, you're just dumping on someone. It's very different than when you're creating a relationship with someone where you can process things and say what you need to say so that you can kind of clear the slate and come to new awarenesses. So through last week, I really sat with it, and there was a whole day where I was mad. I was really mad for a whole day. I was mad at this person for coming here, for draining, becoming a drain on us, for, not being honest, not being truthful. Really what I felt like was a manipulation with words. So I looked at that and I thought, you know what? Whatever is going to happen is going to happen, whether this guy works out or doesn't work out, right? I don't want to send the signal that this guy isn't going to work out so I can be right and my husband can be wrong. That's not what I want. So I had to really look at that and say, is that what I really want? Because it's going to cost the company money. It's going to cost us time. It's going to create a lot of drama. Is that what I really want? That's not what I really want. And it's not about being right. It's about making sure that we are aware, that we are in full awareness of what we're doing with someone, and if they are at the same vibration that we are. And if they're not at the same vibration, it's calling on and asking for the situation to fix itself, right? I listened to this, we were watching this show. It's called Later Daters. It's really funny. I think it's still on Netflix. It's just older people that go on a bunch of dates, and it's really funny. And there was this one woman and her daughter, and the daughter was so funny. And she would always say, "Fix it, Jesus." So that's like one of our sayings around here. Fix it, Jesus. Just like, I ask, and my prayer is just like, if this isn't the right person, then make it an easy out, right? Like, I felt like we had an out at one point and it wasn't taken. So now, if it's not the right person, I'd like an easy out. But the best case scenario is that he does end up becoming the right person when he's fully trained. So looking at circumstances and situations where you feel, if I was to look at my feelings and go, okay, I feel powerless. I feel like my husband's not listening to me. I feel like my intuition isn't being recognized. And so if I looked at all those things, I would see that my viewpoint, right, my perception, the meaning that I'm putting on things is causing me misery. It's causing me pain, and it's creating a cycle of drama in my life. Processing through that, like, it's been, I don't know, a week. Processing through that, now I'm connecting with, where do I want to go from here? So once you process the negative emotions, connect with what you're feeling, then it's making that decision. Do I want to continue this cycle? Do I want to continue to feel this way so I attract more things that make me feel that way? Or do I want to move away from it and move towards what I actually want, right? Which is well-being, which is joy, which is feeling like we have this cohesive team and everybody's working together and everybody is creating value, and our incomes are all producing and elevating and all of that. So getting clear about what you want is the basis, the foundation of what negative emotion gives you. So next time you feel sad, mad, angry, depressed, guilty, shame, any of that, next time you feel that way, dive deep into it. Go for it. Quiet your mind, sit down with a piece of pen and a piece of good one, a piece of paper and a pen. Sit down and write down, what am I feeling and where do these feelings come from? I will honestly tell you, there's been times in my life with my husband where I didn't feel like I had a voice. And now that I'm being a part of his company, that's a transition for both of us, because he's not used to me, chiming in on stuff. I will listen to him and would let him do what he's going to do. But this was the first time, probably maybe ever in his business, that I wanted to have a say in something. I thought my say was really important. And that's like a transition that we're going through that's mostly working. But at the end of the day, this is the company that he built. So he wants to have the final say in it. And I do trust him and I do trust his heart. The part that always concerns me, and this is Celestine Prophecy, and I do really want him to read it. I'm going to actually bring it to the office so he'll read it, is just the control dramas, and I really feel like this man is a poor me, feel sorry for me, do for me. I can't, I really am in a tough spot and I need help. And also, my husband comes from a place where we were given help at times in our life, and he really created a lot of value for the people that helped us. So I'm like, if someone isn't creating value for you and you continue to help them, then the exchange of energy is really off. So I feel like we need to clean that up with this person, and I do believe we're going to do that. And luckily, I'm the person who has PPF meetings with them, which is their performance reviews. So there will be a conversation. I have not seen him since all of this went down. So I'm really checking in with myself, because I don't, at this point in my life, and I hope you're here too, and if you need help with that, go back to my last show on boundaries. I think and I said this last week, one of the greatest disservices that we do for ourselves, and to other people, is not voicing what we really want and what we really need. and it's taking other people's stuff on so much that we're ignoring our own guidance. We're ignoring what we actually need. And, that's a people pleasing thing that goes, it's beyond. It might be lifetimes. I'm not even sure, but we all have it. We all suffer from it. And and not suffer from it necessarily, but we're all awakening from it. Yeah, we're all awakening from it. So I actually do have some people pleasing obligation episodes as well, so you can look back in the in the archives and find those, because all of this stuff is so necessary and so important to building a life of abundance, a life of joy, a life where you feel supported and loved and guided. And these things are coming up, and they're not becoming these huge dramas. They're not becoming these things that take you out of the well-being that you are, that you can align with, that is your foundation. Now, when you do feel that negative emotion, you are definitely out of alignment. But our mechanism in life is not to always be in alignment. If we were always to be in alignment, there would be no point in being here. So the fact that we can get out of alignment means we can get back in alignment. And when we get back in alignment, it's going to be stronger. It's going to have a greater foundation, and it's going to feel even better. That's like, the trampoline. As low as you go on the trampoline, the higher you're going to go. It's the same philosophy. So negative emotion is an indication, and it really helps with your guidance. And the more negative emotion you have, like the denser something's getting, like the worse it's getting, means that it's about to transform. Because your desire, when you have a lot of negative emotion, your desire is extremely strong. So it's not a terrible thing. The terrible part about it is when you get stuck in that negative emotion and you have no way out. You feel like you have no way out. So this is a way to navigate that. This is a way to connect with the energy of transformation and alchemization. Hold on, I gotta turn off my phone. Sorry about that. This is a way to alchemize it. Process it, feel it, heal it, do what you need to do to move to the next level, because there is a next level at the forefront of that negative emotion. Imagine that. It's like all this negative emotion is going to lead me higher. How is that even possible? I feel terrible right now. I'm so low. Because you're here, because you're listening to this, because you've decided that there's a better way, because you wake up every single day interested in the laws of the universe, interested in finding a deeper, more connected way of living this life. It's fascinating. And it fascinates me so often that I'm often in awe. I really am. I'm in awe of what's transpiring in front of me, of how my thoughts are connecting. Yesterday, a really, really silly thing happened. I was at the gym, and we have a new gym now, and I really, really, really love it, like so much more than our last gym. And it's 2 minutes from my house. I mean, there's just so many benefits to going to this gym, and the people are way, way more friendly. I've had more interactions at this gym in the first 2 weeks than I had in 2 years at that other gym. So these women were talking, and they were talking about how they will just, like, at their jobs, they work on Zoom. They'll just pick words, and they'll try to use the word as many times as they can that day in a sentence. So the word was kerfuffle. And I thought it was a funny word. I didn't look it up. I wasn't sure what exactly it meant, but I just kind of didn't think of it, but I thought it was funny, and I had a funny interaction with them, and I let it go. And this often is how law of attraction works. Like, you hear something or you get tuned into something, and then when you let it go, it shows up again, because that's law of attraction, right? So I'm in class yesterday. I started my interior design school, and I love it. I love, love, love it. It was only my second day, and it was so much fun. The teacher used the word kerfuffle, and I thought about it, and I was like, what are the chances that, first of all, I haven't heard that word. I don't even know. I've definitely heard it before, but it's been forever, that I would hear that word twice in one day, and then I would be paying attention enough to make that connection, which is a confirmation of universal law. So anytime you think about something, even if it's a fleeting thought like a person and they call you, you know that this can give you the confidence and the power to create. If you can do it with something small, you can do it with something big. There actually is no such thing as small and big. It's just the beliefs we have around it that manifest it. Either it manifests or it doesn't. There's a saying, it's just as easy to create a castle as it is a button, but it's our belief that it's not as easy that keeps us from actually creating the castle. So keep that in mind, because belief systems really matter. And when we have really strong belief systems towards something and they're not blocked, I had a conversation this morning with my daughter who actually was really doing well at this job, and it was a job from home, and it was doing really, really well, and it just suddenly ended. And there's talks that it may come back, but for the most part, she's feeling like it's over and she needs to figure out something else. And, I was telling her to use this experience for your good and don't go back, because, she's thinking about doing things like, she mentioned food stamps, and I was like, don't go back to that. Like that government support. And if you need government support, I am not judging you. But what I will say is the government gives just enough support to people to keep them in a low vibration. And I know so many people who won't go out and improve their life experience because they'll lose their government funding. That is not abundance. If you live simply and you're doing good and you feel like you have no choice but to be on it, that's all you. But if you get in this tendency of needing, that assistance from a place that's not really going to give you the support that will create abundance for you, then that's where it turns into a problem. So what I said to her was, this is about moving forward, not stepping back. The universe right now is holding you up to this light of, will you walk forward into the abundance? Oops, hang on one second. 1 second. So will you move forward in abundance or will you step back? And always is your response. Like what your response is to what's going on really does matter. And having faith and not putting up blocks. Some of our blocks are like, I didn't go to college and maybe I just need to take this job that's only paying $20 an hour. And I'm just like, you're limiting your potential here. You have huge potential. The fact that you were making such great money means you were aligned with it. And now it's like, can I sustain that alignment? So anytime you're going through change, asking yourself, can I sustain this alignment? Am I sustaining the alignment with abundance, or am I going back into fears and worries? Can I sustain this loving, beautiful, supportive relationship, or am I going back into my wounds and my traumas and creating dramatic scenarios with this new person? All of the things that you're walking through have the potential to give you great information. And when you treat life like it's an opportunity, right? When you treat these circumstances as opportunities, they transform. It's the only way I was able to transform this last week, was being open to that and not being so close-minded and angry and shut down, but opening my heart and asking the questions that allow for transformation to take place. So use those negative emotions as guidance, as intolerances, right? It's like, what am I tolerating? That's such a great question, because especially in this law of attraction world, when you're in relationships with people and you're tolerating a lot of stuff, right? Like you're the one that's doing all the time. They're the one that's taking, you're doing, you're giving, they're taking. You will get to a point where, up until this, you're like, I'm fine. It's okay. I did it with friends for years. It's okay. I don't need that. It's no big deal. And that's like a soothing mechanism, which works. It definitely can work. But ultimately, you're pushing down those emotions, and eventually it's going to get to the point of intolerance, especially if your journey with this person is meant to be over. And we know that there's, chapters with people in life, and we know from life experience that not everybody stays. And hopefully you don't take that personally. Hopefully you understand that once you start to vibrate high, some people will disappear. Once you start to vibrate high, some people won't be able to, like, they don't want to be with you because you got a lot going, great things going on, and they don't. So it's like a spotlight on their negative stuff. You know, if you have friends that you can't tell the good stuff that is happening to you in your life, those are not your friends. They're not your friends if you're dealing with jealousy and things like that, because a real true supportive friend, and of course it's just wounds, right? They just have wounds, but a real true loving and supportive friend would be happy for you, and they would be cheering you on and not shaming you because good things are happening to you, right? So protect your field. Definitely protect your field. That's a really good idea. So last week I had shared a little bit about Buy Me a Cup of Coffee, and I had a little mini download about this, and it was thanks to my beautiful friend and supportive, amazing woman in my life, Sarah, who actually Venmoed me the other day. Yeah, she sent me a $20 Venmo just to support the show. And I thought, wow, that is so cool. So I want to share, and this is not like, I'm not trying to make a ton of money with this show. I would like to monetize it this year. I've got so much going on that this has got to make sense in some different ways for me. So I think that monetizing it would definitely help me to feel that way, help me to feel like I can keep doing this because it makes sense. So I really want to stay with the show. I really want to keep doing this. So the support goes so beyond anything that's like monetary. It's just about the exchange of energy within the show and letting me know and encouraging me that, this is really working for you. So the Venmo is at Goldyn-Duffy, and I'm going to put the little, here we go. Okay, there you go. The little Venmo link is on the screen. So if you're listening to the podcast, you're not going to see this, but if you go to my YouTube and watch it, we are at minute 27:43. You can see the link for Venmo, and you should be able to just scan that and hit my Venmo. Just, $5, $10, $20, whatever you feel called to, especially if the show has been supporting you for a long time and you're feeling, really good about it. It's really making you feel like, if it's really making you feel like it's making a difference. So that's my spiel for that. All right, so let's get back to negative emotions. So you've got some negative emotions. Are you in control? That's the question. This is a question I've been asking myself about a lot of things in my life. Like, am I in control, or does this substance or this cookie have power over me, right? I recently got into the habit of drinking coffee in the afternoon because y'all know I'm like a big napper. I love my naps, but with this new office situation and this book that I'm writing, which, geez Louise, is like already 300 pages, I'm pretty committed and focused right now to be getting this done. And now I have school, so there's homework and all of that. So I've been hitting the coffee in the afternoon, and I found these cookies that I absolutely are my favorite cookies, and I found gluten-free ones. So I bought a package the other day, and I was like, oh, this would be really good with coffee in the office, right? So my afternoon cup of coffee is now greeted with a cookie. And I realized the other day that I had one cookie. That was it, one cookie. And I was like, that is really amazing control, to be able to just have the one cookie, really enjoy it, really bask in it, and not feel like I need to have more. Same thing with like a glass of wine. Like, I can have one glass of wine and be done with it. And I feel like that's the way to really enjoy all different things in life, where you don't feel like they're taking over. Because if something is taking over, there's a saying that says, an addiction is only an addiction until you realize it, or a habit is only a habit until you realize it, or an addiction, you could put either word in there. Once you realize it, it's a choice. And I thought that was really powerful. However, that choice sometimes it doesn't feel like a choice, because you have these neural pathways that are these things in your brain, right? These well-worn paths in your brain and your mind that tries to keep you safe and the same, that's going to call you back. It's going to call you back to those tendencies and tell you why it's a good idea. So when I considered having that second cookie, this was where I went. Instead of going into, oh, I should just have one more. Who cares? I already had one, blew the diet, whatever, which I didn't do. Instead of that, I went to, how am I going to feel if I have a second cookie? It probably is going to hurt my stomach because I don't eat a lot of sugar. So it's probably going to hurt my stomach. And then what's the point of that? Right. And then it could turn into a habit of eating a lot of cookies at one time, which I don't want to do. That's not part of my identity. That's not who I'm trying to be. Right. Or who I am being. So, alcohol is definitely a little trickier because the component of like that buzz that you get and wanting more of that buzz and then being in that moment, and the alcohol really messes with your ability to make a good and solid decision. So that I do always suggest kind of setting that up ahead of time. So, if you are going to drink, what is that number that you won't regret or you won't feel like waking up like crap from? It could be zero. It very well could be zero. One glass of wine, I don't really have a lot of detriment involved in that. So I'm okay with that. And that's what I choose to do right now. But finding that number and then setting some boundaries for yourself kind of ahead of time. And then if you keep blowing it, then it's taking a look at that and saying, is this really serving me? Or is this just like this mind battle that I'm having all the time that is not leading to my joy? Because at the end of the day, we really want to see how much capacity we have for joy and how often we can tune into this massive well-being that is our set point. That's our foundation. How often can we be there, right? How often can we be in appreciation? How often can we connect with people and feel a sense of community or a sense of lightheartedness and laughter? How often can we feel love, feel supported, or give love or give support, right? So all those mechanisms that lead to better feelings, good feelings, are where you want to spend your time. It's where you want to spend your focus, because what you focus on expands. All right, so I'm going to do a little book roulette today. Feeling that? Feeling that? All right, so we have The Perfect Unfolding for the Expansion of Your Soul. So I'm going to put up the QR code right there on the left-hand screen. You can also find it on Amazon. You can look it up. Sometimes these are hard to find. The Perfect Unfolding for the Expansion of Your Soul. This is a very pretty book. I love the cover of this one. And it's very spiritual. It's like the spiritual part of manifesting. So we're looking at negative emotions today. Let's see where the book brings us. Okay. I just want to see where to start here. This is not bad. This is not a bad place to be. I was just talking about tuning into the joy of life. So this says, every time you pay attention to nature and animals, you become fully present. You let everything else stop, giving you a unique advantage in the human experience. I always thought looking up totems and getting excited about seeing wildlife was just something I did. I didn't fully realize the deeper, powerful meanings of having these encounters. I could always feel it, but now I knew it at a higher level. I remember the first time on my daily hike, I saw the pigeons flying in the most interesting formations. They were flying and landing and coming off the ground in total synchronicity, which caught my attention. I stood in awe as I watched a dance that I knew was choreographed just for me. This has happened to me several times in my life, and I've even been able to share it with my loved ones. I'm not sure they were as excited about it as I was, but I shared the energy I felt was otherworldly. So how often can you tune into energy that feels otherworldly, right? Taking your eyes and your focus off this three-dimensional reality, that foundation of faith and trust and knowing and feeling the support and looking at this life and going, you know what? This is just a game. And I'm going to be okay because this is just a game. And I just need to really navigate it in the highest realms possible, the highest vibrations possible. And I'm going to win. I'm going to win when I do that, because I know at the foundation of my soul, at the very being of my existence, I am here to win. I am here for winning. So that's a awesome piece of this and will allow you to live life at a different vibration. Okay. Okay, so let's do this one, our Mindful Manifestation Daily Guide and Journal. This one is a really great, this, you actually do need the QR code for this. It's hard to find on Amazon. The QR code's in the left-hand corner. We're at minute 35:47. If you want to hop over to YouTube, you could subscribe too. That would be great. My subscriptions on YouTube could use a little boost. So this is a hardcover book. It's really beautiful. This is absolutely my favorite book that I've ever created and had designed. This is 100 pages of content, and then there's a whole bunch of writing prompts and pages to write in. Okay. We get to live life to our choosing. Is somebody out there? Hello. Hi. Yes, I'm doing my show. Oh, all right. We get to live life to our choosing. Many of you have gone through your days feeling powerless to choose and believing you cannot change the path you are on. You may have spent most of your years wishing for things to be different, waking up every day to live the same old story. It's time for that to change for you. You wouldn't have picked up this book if you weren't interested in manifesting a new life. Your new life begins today. It begins as soon as you decide it does, and you follow the messages shared with you in this book. Do yourself a favor and do not let any more time pass you by. It is easy to take this life for granted and allow year after year to pass without fulfillment. It is your time to shine. It is your time to fulfill the destiny of your heart that your heart has been calling you to. I am here for you, and I'm always cheering you on to live your greatest potential. And then it shares an episode, which is episode 74, how to live from higher guidance and no longer manifest from the old belief systems. So that's some really great advice. All right. So somebody needed to hear that message, right? Life is good. Okay, now we have Quantum Speak for Parents. We're going to pull from that one today. Let's see what we got. You have a lot of negative emotions in parenting, right? I was talking to somebody the other day, and I was telling them how, our kids are our greatest teachers, and they will expose all of the things that we never worked on, all of the things that we need to work on, and they'll show us where our work is, like where our growing edge is. So keep that in mind. All right, so we got Quantum Speak for Parents. Great little teachers. This is perfect. Reaction versus response. One day I was driving in New York and I was feeling so good. I was doing business in town and life felt light and joyful. I came to a four-way stop and apparently went before someone who felt they should have been able to go first. This man started yelling at me and flipping me off, and I thought, well, why the heck did that happen? My next thought was only to throw him a kiss, like genuinely, because I felt like he could use more love. The law of attraction is not necessarily what happens to you, but more about how you respond. If you are a very reactive and fly off the handle at little things like crazy people, well, that just means you weren't in a good place deep down as you thought you were. A good of a place deep down as you thought you were. Your reactions will always tell you where you are conducting energy from. They will always tell you how you are truly feeling inside. So, those moments when you kind of like freak out, or, somebody triggers you and it creates, like you thought you were feeling good and then all of a sudden you were like angry. That's an indication that anger was running underneath, that you were trying really hard to tolerate things that were feeling intolerable, and eventually it's going to come to pass. So great message. Your response always really matters. Let me put the QR code up for the parenting book. This is also on Amazon. Also might be hard to find, so look at that QR code. We're at minute 39:53 if you want to pop over to YouTube and just find this QR code, Quantum Speak for Parents. This is a great book if you're in the middle of parenting, no matter what age your kids are, even adults. And I have a little section about also being with elderly parents. Okay, Mindful Manifestation Secrets. This one is also available on Amazon. Let me find your code here. This is also available on not just Amazon, but also Audible. I read it and came out pretty freaking good. Okay, ready? Becoming a new identity. Recently, I realized that I was riding a roller coaster with my weight. I would try all sorts of diets and exercise plans and lose the weight and feel good, and then fall back into old habits and patterns that made me feel awful. Can anyone relate? I was frustrated and disgusted. I knew there had to be a better way. After meditating on this dilemma, I realized that the energy I had been conducting was that I was standing in a place of not knowing, telling myself I didn't know what to eat or what to do to end this cycle. I decided to begin the process of identity creation with this situation, and the results astounded me. First, I had to look at the beliefs I had created that got me to where I was. I could see that I had a belief that I was getting older and it was harder to lose weight in my 40s. I couldn't work out because I didn't have a gym membership. I didn't have the motivation or consistency. I didn't know what to eat. I couldn't find anything long lasting that I could remain passionate about. I began to create the mindset around the new identity that I wanted, meditating and becoming clear on what I wanted. I started asking myself, what would a person who has the body I want eat? Soon after, I manifested a nutrition plan that has been long-lasting and has become a lifestyle change for me that I can attain. Next, I asked myself, what would a person who has the body I want do? Soon after, my husband came home with gym equipment, and I discovered a woman on Facebook who told me exactly what to do. I became accountable to my new identity. There were no more excuses of not feeling like exercising or eating like crap. I no longer questioned if I was going to go for a run in the morning. I just did it. I became excited for this new identity, and I made a definite decision that this is who I am now. So the interesting thing about identity creation is that when you start to move away from that old identity and you start implementing new habits and new structures in your life, your old identity is going to really kick up and try to call you back. And the greatest thing that you can do is overcome that, overcome those feelings, overcome those thoughts, and put yourself in the best possible place for success, which means asking those questions every single day. Is this aligning with the identity of who I want to be, of who I say I want to be? Am I doing the things? Am I calling myself to the accountability of what I say I want to do? So that is identity creation. It's one of my actual favorite things to explore, because in the law of attraction, there's this idea that, what you send out is what you get back. Absolutely true. But if you can take it a little step further, instead of believing like, oh, I attract, what I say. If you're not in alignment with what you are saying, it's not really that powerful. That's why a lot of times you'll see affirmations don't necessarily work, because you have to have the feeling behind it. You have to have the knowing behind it. You have to have the action behind it. Action is so important. And I think in the law of attraction world, especially if, if you've a student of The Secret, I think there was a lot of things in there that they left out as far as like emotions and feeling it. And you can't, you sitting in your house just manifesting a car is, it's all well and good. But, I think it kind of sets people up for the idea sometimes, like if they don't manifest what they want, then they feel like they're not good at manifesting. And that's absolutely not true. In fact, you are manifesting all the time. You're either manifesting by default, which means you're unconscious and you're just, creating by your reactions, or you manifest by deliberate creation, where you are deliberately setting intentions, putting in action, asking and aligning. Asking and aligning is so important. So that's identity creation. It's one of my, I think it took law of attraction to a level where I could understand it and teach it from a framework that makes people go, oh, okay, I have to become this person. I can't just say I want it, right? I can't just like use these airy fairy words. I've got to actually become it by acting like it, by finding ways to become it, by finding ways to be worthy of it, right? Like if you want to become wealthy and you're around a bunch of wealthy people and you feel bad, you feel less than, then that's a really good indication that you've got some work to do. Or, one of the really interesting things about wealth, if you watch a lot of the movies and a lot of the shows, they portray wealthy people as really awful people. So if we have that like in our subconscious as a seed, we will believe that we have to become awful to ever become wealthy. And, especially if you come across a lot of awful wealthy people, then it will be next to impossible for you to let go of the fact that you have to be terrible, right? Let go of the fact that I can't be good and have money. So I would look at that belief system. This is always about drilling down into those belief systems. So we're going to do a little exercise right now, a little energy clearing. All right. So I want you to just sit up tall and straight, close your eyes, and take a nice deep breath and release it. Take another deep breath. And when you take this deep breath in, I want you to hold it for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And when you blow it out, I want you to blow out all the tension, all the stress, all the worry, all the concerns. Breathing in again and holding at the top. And when you hold, really push into your third eye. So you're kind of squeezing from your belly and pulling up and squeezing your third eye. This actually moves your spinal fluid, and it's really, really good to feel life force. And breathing out and just relaxing to another level, taking those muscles down even another notch. All right, so now we have this nice clear space. So let's just call in our non-physical support, divine guidance, angelic protection. Imagine this energy of light is swirling all around you and it's clearing your field. And it's bringing you to awareness around the things that you need to work with. So if you've been dealing with something for a while, maybe that's coming to the forefront. And if you haven't been dealing with it and it's coming to the forefront, like it's underneath everything, like what's really bothering you, what's really underneath it all. And I want you to come up with a word for this emotion. And I want you to ask yourself, when was the first time you ever felt this emotion? And then I want you to ask that emotion and that wound is fully released. And we're going to take a couple of deep breaths here. And imagine that you're blowing it out, releasing, letting go, letting all those people go, creating an energy of forgiveness, creating an energy of movement forward by letting that emotion go. Yes. Connecting with the false belief system. So asking what belief is around this emotion. So releasing yourself from that emotion and that belief. And then just asking, what is the new belief that I want to believe that will bring me more of what I want? So it could be, I am powerful. It could be, I am confident. I am healed. I am strong. I am worthy. I claim my power. I am here to live life to the fullest. I am my greatest potential. All right. So now I want you to imagine there's this light and it's coming up through your feet, all the way up your legs, all the way up, up, up into your root. Now this is at the bottom of your spine. I want you to imagine there's this beautiful red ruby energy and it's lighting up. And what it's doing is it's cleansing and clearing that root chakra. This is your chakra of prosperity, support, foundation, connection. So it's just clearing and cleansing. And then it's coming up to the bottom of your abdomen, clearing your emotional field, balancing out your emotions. You see this beautiful orange color lit up like a sunset. And this beautiful orange color is cleansing and clearing your creative energies, allowing you to release any blockages, allowing you to release any false beliefs around your creativity. And then coming up into your abdomen, we have our power center, yellow like the sun, bright. Imagine your whole abdomen is lit up and there's rays all around you. This is how powerful you are and how worthy you are and how much you can trust the support you have here as a being in this human existence. Coming into your heart, we go up into the heart, this beautiful green emerald energy, healing your heart, making your heart whole, trusting and knowing that you are love, that you are worthy of great love, that you are lovable, that you are forgiven, that you are allowed to give and receive love. Coming up into the throat, we see this beautiful blue sapphire energy activating the throat, infusing the throat with your truth, clearing and cleansing so you can speak your truth and set your boundaries. Beautiful blue energy that helps you to believe that your truth matters, that your voice matters, and that you can say it in a way that allows people to hear you, and that your words are worthy of being heard. Bringing that light up to your third eye, this beautiful indigo energy, we just activate that intuition and that guidance, allowing you to know who you are, knowing that you are the light of the world, knowing that you have higher guidance, connecting to your higher states of consciousness, trusting and understanding that support, and for your guidance to be louder than your mind, so that you are led and guided to your greatest expansion and growth, easily and freely. And then coming into the crown, the very, very top of your head, I want you to imagine there's this beautiful golden light opening the crown and connecting you to your spiritual center, the place where you are higher state of consciousness. You are the flow and the expression of all that is. And that you are here to create something truly epic, to leave all of these low vibrational beliefs behind and really step into the power and the character and the persona and the identity of who you are truly worthy of being, of who the world needs you to be, so that you can have an effect, a beautiful effect on everyone you come in contact with, and raise the vibration of the collective so that we can stand in this beautiful light energy together, connecting, loving, and living in our highest truth. So imagine this light is all the way around you, blanketing you in this warm, golden energy of love and worthiness, trust, and belief. Having the faith of things seen, because you understand universal law, you can see how you influence the field of creation. So just take a couple of deep breaths and let that all assimilate, imagining all your cells are percolating and becoming healthy and whole, lit up, full of energy, full of life force, giving you a little boost in your energy field. All right. Well, now you're ready. Now you're ready to handle anything that comes at you and to understand that your emotional field is important, that every one of your emotions are an indication of something you need to look at or something you need to work on, and they don't have to last a long time. You don't have to be in negative emotion for a long time. It's a process, and the sooner you apply the process, the sooner you're going to navigate and alchemize those negative emotions And that's what really is important, because the sooner you can alchemize it, and it's not like we're rushing, right? It's not like we're pushing down and trying to get away from, we're facing it so that it doesn't become something that we have to deal with later or we start creating from. Once we face it, we start the transformation process. And as you navigate it and work through it and come to the understanding that, oh, this negative emotion is really a good thing. It's showing me where I need to go. And if something isn't right in my experience, I can trust that it's going to transform because I am looking at it from those eyes of faith and that those eyes of trust, and knowing that as I put forth my thoughts and beliefs, that everything always works out for me, it absolutely will. So you don't always know how it's going to serve you, but it's always going to serve you. All right, guys, that's my show for today. Peace.